Welcome back to March or Die. I am the Stress Master.
And I am your friendly neighborhood tumor again, as I say every week, not because I'm malignant, but because a certain man named Paul and John and Mike and so forth. There were many Mikes, weren't there, really?
There was a lot of mics. There's 3, I think.
Just decided to put me in spot number B9, and then there was just some guy next to me named Rob. You remember Rob, don't you, Mr. Newcomb?
Newcomb.
I know you're watching, Rob. Just looked at me one day and called me a tumor, and that was it. So I am your friendly neighborhood tumor because I marked spot B9.
Who gave me the Stress Master? Was that the Sopranos? Was that Terry and the gang?
I think it was, yeah. You may have been the Stress Master, but at least we played clean.
That's for sure, dude. 90. Oh my gosh, we played really well. I mean, we were really damn good.
Let's start a war here. How many times was the baritones sat in the shade under a tree while the Sopranos were just going at rep after rep after rep after rep because we did it one and done and they were dirty.
Yeah, well, there's always that. But hey, we're not going to start a war today because today is St. Patrick's Day.
I'm all about starting wars, me.
If you guys can tell by our backgrounds, it's St. Patrick's Day. We're actually recording on St. Patrick's Day, so hopefully I'll get this up today. I can't guarantee I'm going to get it up today because we're normally recording on a Saturday. It gives me Sunday to edit and all that fun stuff, but I'm going to try to do it seamlessly today so I can edit this pretty quick.
Yes,
all right.
I had to knock him back a day, I'm afraid. It's my wedding anniversary this weekend, and if I'd have recorded last night while I was meant to be taking my wife out to dinner... this is a woman that's put up with me for 22 years and absolutely deserves a medal, if not a sainthood. But if I'd have put off dinner for us doing this podcast, I probably wouldn't have made it to 23.
There you go. That's important. And then next weekend is my wife's birthday. I'm not going to say how old, but it's her birthday next weekend. So I will not be recording. 29 again. So we will not be recording, so we'll probably have some other content we're going to be putting up. I will be working on a video this week, and I think you were going to work on a video this week, if I'm not mistaken. And then we will make sure we have content up for you guys. And like I said, we are going to try to put more content so that there's more videos. And we are going to be talking about something at the end of the episode that we're going to need your help with. So we'll come back to that.
And now the news. So, said a couple of episodes ago, this is a weird time of the year, and it is a weird time of the year. You have months upon months of it just being a news desert. There's nothing going on, and then you have like a week where there's loads of stuff that happens, and then you're back into the desert. Well, back into the desert we are. So we are kind of scraping the barrel here a little bit. But I did manage to find a few things. So the news, the Blue Devils are hosted their 2024 crab feed. The Blue Devils have been hosting this crab feed for about as long as I can remember. I know it's a huge part of their annual fundraising, and it's important that we support corps like the Blue Devils from a fundraising perspective as well, because I think there's this idea that somehow the Blue Devils just print money, and they don't. They're no different than everybody else. They're just very good at working with what they've got. So really good to see that the Blue Devils crab feed was a success. You can check out their Facebook page, loads of really cool pictures on there, lots of Blue Devils alumni and so on and so forth. So well done to the guys over in Concord. The battalion has a number of openings in their horn line. This is an upcoming corps there, and they've been putting out some pretty good shows over the last few years. And by all accounts, they're a good bunch of people over there as well. So if you're at a loose end, maybe you've auditioned and you've not made a corps, or you've thought about it and you didn't, or you're kind of on the fence, it's always worth checking out these guys.
I like the uniform actually. They have a cool uniform.
Yeah, I think that's last year's, obviously. I don't know what this year's is going to be, but it was funny. I remember when Battalion first came out. Do you remember they bought Boston's old uniforms?
Yes, that was quite a while ago.
and then wore them the year that Boston changed their uniforms. Just all of a sudden, you saw those little tiny Boston Crusaders from Salt Lake City. It was a bit odd, but hey, you do what you do, don't you?
Exactly.
Next up, Blue Stars. Again, a corps that's been around for yonks, is having their 60th anniversary alumni corps, and they are, of course, looking for people that are interested in joining that. So if you're a Blue Stars alum, by all means, get in touch with the guys over in La Crosse. Carolina Crown is currently running a fundraiser. Again, just like the Blue Devils, look, Carolina Crown, they don't just print money. They've got to earn it just like everybody else. So they're doing a bourbon raffle. There's 5 days, 8 hours, 49 minutes, and 32 seconds left if you want to get involved there.
Exactly.
Exactly. Actually, now it's 5 days, 8 hours, 49 minutes, and 23 seconds, so you better get on it. The Colts have some job opportunities that they're looking for. Specifically, they're looking for medical team, CDL and general drivers, merchandise managers, lots of stuff going on there. And they also have limited openings for instructional staff as well. So
maybe I should get on that.
There you go, Justin. There's your gig, man. It'd be a bit of a commute for me, but hey, what can you do? But yeah, again, a solid core, been around forever. I think they've solidified their place in the top 12 with their showing last year as well. So again, reach out to the guys over in Dubuque. The Colombians are looking to fill 5 color guard spots. So again, I'd say same thing as I said about battalion. If you thought about auditioning, maybe you auditioned somewhere, didn't quite make it, whatever the case may be. Colombians, I said it in the last pod. I think this is I really genuinely do believe this is an up and coming corps. I remember watching their show last year, going, "Who the hell are these guys? And where the hell did they come from?"
Yeah.
Them
in Music City, man, they have some great shows.
They do.
I was like really, like, they did, what is it, Rainbows and Gasoline? That was a really great show. I really love that show. I think that was 22, 21.
I think so. Yeah. Last year. Well, what year did they do the train show as well? That was really cool. Music City, I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't remember that one.
I think it might have been 18 actually.
Oh, okay.
But no, really super cool show. You should check that out. But yeah, so Colombians looking to fill some color guard spots. Gold is holding auditions on the 24th of March, so next weekend from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Royal Oak Middle School in Covina. You can go to gold.org and use the code 324 at checkout.
Another great corps.
And our friends over at the Mandarins. Mandarins support us, so we support them. So their ensemble coordinator and battery designer, Benjamin Piles, has officially joined the Mapex marching artist roster. Well done. So, and that doesn't come as any surprise. Anybody who's been paying the slightest bit of attention has seen that Mandarins have had some smoking batteries over the last few years. So well done there. Next up, we got the Troopers. 2 big announcements. The Troopers will be holding their spring training in Casper, Wyoming. Imagine that, a modern drum corps holding spring training in the town that's under their name in the title. So they're going to be holding that in Casper, Wyoming at Kelly Walsh High School. And they're also introducing from the 27th to the 30th of June in Casper something called TroopCon 24. What the heck is TroopCon, you ask? Why, it's the greatest Troopers multi-event fan and alumni celebration to ever exist. But more importantly, it's also where they're going to debut Dance with the Devil. So tickets and details will be coming soon. Check out troopers.org for more information. Finally, and then in all age class, White Sabres. Congratulations to the brass caption head Matthew Yeager on his introduction into the Buglers Hall of Fame. Anybody who's brass oriented really should check out that Buglers Hall of Fame at some point. There's some amazing names on there. And as far as the round of news is concerned, I am going to finish up with a sound sport group and a little blast from our past, Justin, the Spirit of Sunnyvale.
Yes. They are
Still
still
knocking
around.
about, they are. Still knocking about, they are. So, and then I saw they were doing something with Chipotle, and who doesn't like Chipotle? And if you don't like Chipotle, find another channel. So they're So their next dinner night out will be at Chipotle on the 1st of April from 5 to 9 p.m. at the East Ridge Mall in San Jose. Again, a fundraising event for Spirit of Sunnyvale. And that is the roundup of the news. And now I will move into some recent scores. And in WGI scores, so we'll start with percussion. Percussion independent. Actually, we'll start with percussion independent open. In first place, we had Q2 with an 85.1. Civitas Independent with an 82.7. Infinity 3 with an 81.6. Percussion Scholastic World, we had Sparkman High School with an 87.4. Dorman High School with an 84.5. And Forsyth Central High School with an 81.3. And in Percussion Independent World, wow, Music City Mystique with a 92.5, followed up by Infinity with a 91.5, and Atlanta Quest with an 86.15. Anything you want to chat about there, or do you want me to move on to Guard then?
I think we can move on. I mean, I'm not familiar with any of those groups, unfortunately, but...
Yeah, I mean, Music City Mystique. Obviously, we know they like to push the envelope as far as creativity is concerned. I've seen their show, pretty cool. And in WGI Color Guard, again, I'll go through the three non-scholastic, if you will, divisions. So in Independent A, round one, we had God, I'm going to have to try to say it. I'm going to probably destroy this, but ayo. Sonore de la Prairie with a 79.57. JMU Nuance A with a 77.48. In Independent A, round two, we had Le Eclipse. Oh, there's a name from the past, eh?
Yeah, that's a drum corps in Ontario, Canada, right?
They were,
or
I'll
Montreal?
tell you what, they were really good back in the mid 80s, you know. And I think it was 86 or 87. They flirted with DCI finals, you know.
What was the chord that was in finals?
Dutch Boy.
No, other than Dutch Boy. Sorry.
Dutch Boy's
was
only.
it?
Oh, you had Seneca Optimist were a Canadian corps that made finals.
Yeah, I was thinking it was in the 90s, but maybe I'm thinking of Magic of Orlando. Because they did some off-the-wall French thing or something.
Oh, maybe Magic of Orlando did some... well, they did Cirque du Soleil.
That's what it was. Because they did like this. During retreat, they did like some rolling and stuff on the ground. And I was like, what the heck is that, man? Yeah. That makes sense.
So anyway, Independent A, an old friend of ours, Les Eclipse, and I know that I'm saying their name wrong, with an 82.64. Gates Chili Independent Winter Guard, 82.27. God, there's so many units in WGI Winter Guard. It's just nuts.
There's hundreds.
But you know what? When you don't need to have 155 kids and a whole bunch of buses and a huge budget, you know, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Independent Open, third legend with an 81.2. Mainline Independent with an 81.2. So they were a tie there. JMU Nuance Open with an 80.7. And Blessed Sacrament with a 76.5. And in Independent World, I'm guessing that must be Blessed Sacrament, like their second unit. Yeah, I'm guessing it has to be. Because in Independent World, congratulations to Blessed Sacrament with a 91.7 and Fusion Winter Guard with a 91.6, right on their heels.
So, and Blessed Sacrament's been around a long time.
They have. We're going to have to watch some Winter Guard and show how much about Guard we don't know.
Oh, I know quite a bit, fortunately, because I taught it for a long time. I did the visual component of it, not the dance, because I suck at dance. Yeah. But I can do work. I can do movement and stuff like that. But yeah, that's definitely not my forte.
So that was the news.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump into this. I was trying to find something. I'm not Irish, so I don't know. But I know that this is one of probably the most popular songs. And I'm going to share some interesting facts about the 27th Lancers. We did have somebody on our staff, Mike Belanca, who marched 27th Lancers. And I found out that they were, I know they were good, but I'm going to show you guys how good they really were back in the day when they were a corps. So, but let's go ahead and watch this. Go ahead.
Possibly one of the stories I heard about 27th was the year they didn't make finals in '86, and obviously they folded after that. I wasn't there in '86, but the story, as I was told, and if this is wrong, by all means correct us. But I was told that in '86 they sat as a corps in the back stands, and when they were announced, or I think it was during the national anthem or whatever, they held up a big banner that said "Sorry, we tried." And I was like,
"Oh wow,
that's just so harsh,"
Oh, by the way, you still have your breaking news background on.
Oh, I do, don't I? Let's just change that to, let's get back with the Irish, shouldn't we?
Get back with the Irish. That's just.
Back then, scores were it was like the end all be all. I'm glad we've gotten away from that. Look, yeah, it's still cool to make finals. It's really important to make finals, but I'm glad that we have gotten away from the scores or the end all be all.
Yeah, I agree, because I mean, it's more. I think it's more about let's enjoy what we're watching, and let's try to put the best show we can on the field, as opposed to we got to count every tick, we got to count every error, we got to count everything. That drove me nuts. I'm glad they went away from that. When we marched, they were going away from that like heavily. I mean, because I think they stopped the tick system in '84, '83.
I think ticks went away around '81.
Was it really that early? Why am I? Because they still have the starter gun in '82, like for the time limit. Anyway,
I did like the idea of the starter gun, though. Anyway, we digress.
All right, so we're gonna actually. This is a DCI video. They did a mashup of Danny Boy, and I looked at 27 Lancers, and I'm gonna pull this up when we're done here. They did Danny Boy almost every year, except for exception of a few years. So let's take a listen. Let's take a watch. Here we go. And I think this is '82. Oh, maybe not, because I was watching the '82 video before we started. Maybe it is.
That looks like '82, yeah. I'm sure that's Montreal.
This is where Color Guard was Color Guard. So this is kind of a mashup. So I'm sure they're taking different years, and
yeah,
there's the pistol.
So for those who don't know what the pistol means, is that's when the performance judges come off the field.
I think it's when they reach their maximum time too, right? Like their minimum time?
Yeah, but it's minimum time is when the performance judges came off the field. So you would actually hear bang, bang, and if you watch, you see the green shirts walking off.
Oh, where have we seen this before? Or recently, I mean. Blue Devils and Madison. Oh, I gotta turn this down so loud. Look at the standard double timing rifle.
And clean. Pause for a
Crazy.
second. Just
It's at the end.
holy shit, I am not a guard person. However, game recognizes game. And I'm telling you that the stuff the guard was doing at the end of Danny Boy, holy shit, pardon my French, but holy shit. Don't worry, I'm going to introduce the British swear word of the day in a few minutes here. I guarantee you, if you go back and you pause that at any frame, those rifles will all be exactly the same. And
It's
then to go,
crazy,
I mean,
dude.
and they never slowed down, and they were high mark timing, and then they went to their knees and the backs, and nothing. Those rifles just, you know, I often say that the stuff that we do now is, so much more difficult, and in some cases it is. Okay, yeah, okay, our tempos are a lot higher now, and we're a lot more artistic. But my God, just doing the basics and just doing the basics with in front of that many people, in front of those judges, just daring the judges to find something wrong. Wow.
Exactly.
And I'm a brass guy. I don't I normally just think I look at guard and go, yeah, that looks pretty good. Holy crap, that was amazing.
I know. And
The
actually, if
brass
you
was loud,
watch,
and the brass was loud as well. I
oh
mean,
God, that
how
was really, and that's bugles, man. That's
that's
the beauty of
bugles.
bugles. Bugles are loud as hell. You do not need amplification with a bugle, man.
No, you don't, because the thing is the G bugle, and this is the bit where we're going to sound like two old men shouting from our lawn. But you know what? I've played both. Okay, so I played G bugles when I marched DCI, and I played B flat when I marched all age, and both have their advantages and disadvantages. But if you took, I can only imagine how loud. When you look at modern day DCI horn lines, what are they, about 75 to 80 members, something like
Yeah,
that?
there's a lot.
If you put 80 G bugles on the field, you'd injure people.
Yeah, in a dome, in a dome,
In a 80 G bugles on a field in a dome, you would injure people
it'd be
because those
insane, dude.
horns were loud. They were truly, they were just projection monsters. Okay, yeah, they were damn near impossible to tune, and there was literally notes you couldn't play.
Well, the two valves, yes. When they got to the three valves, though, we were really in tune. Though, if you listen to our horn line in '91, we were super in tune.
Yeah, you did hear some
I,
overtones in there and
I
stuff.
think they're. I think honestly, G bugles, if you know how to tune them, they are way more in tune than a B flat horn.
Hmm.
Way more in tune. Way easier to get in
The,
tune.
but where and that's where the problem with G bugles were, is that not every drum corps back then had a Richie Hodge.
Okay, to the power of editing, you guys are now seeing this screen. So what I wanted to point out is, so the 27th Lancers were Revere, Massachusetts, founded in 1967. You can see here, like their first year, they were in finals in
Yeah,
'68, and that's VFW. So I think that was
VFW
that's
finals.
before
Yeah,
before DCI. Ninth place in '70, third place in '71. So the first year of DCI, 1972, they were in fourth place. Next year, they were in seventh place. And then, unfortunately, in 74, they were in 20th, which is a big jump down. But then they came right back in fourth place, fifth place, fourth place, seventh place, fifth place, second place. They almost won in 1980. But I mean, and I'm gonna pull up the 80s scores and see what that is. But look at it. Look at these fourth, sixth, 10th. I mean, this is all respectable. Every year, pretty much, they were like in the top echelon.
mm.
Um, and then 85 and 86, they got 13th place.
But
But
and
still good.
this kind of goes back on what we were saying before we played the clip, though, is the difference between tick and the subjective judging system. So for those that are young that maybe don't know what the tick system that we keep referring to is, okay. Now bear in mind, Justin and I both did March after the tick system went away, not that much after,
Yeah,
but
that's true.
essentially every corps started off the show with 100 points, and they instead of so what you just every time a mistake was found, it was a tick, and it just That knocked off. I think a tick was what, a tenth of a point, wasn't
Tenth
it?
of a point. Yep.
Yeah. So tick. There's 99.9, tick 99.8, so on and so on and so on.
For those of you at home, we realize it's difficult to spot some of the subtle errors that we mark down on the field. So we've arranged a little demonstration, and we're going to show you some errors that even you can spot at home. One of the most common errors is interval. That is the spacing between people. As the blue stars move forward, one of the members moves to her left. I've marked that as a spacing error. It will be penalized 1/10 of a point. As the two lines come together, the blue stars change direction. One of the marchers is now too close to the marcher in front of her. This is a distance error. Again, 1/10 of a point penalty. In this example, the blue stars move from a line to a curved formation, an arc. As the arc opens, you'll see that the spacing on the left side doesn't open evenly. One marcher stays too close to the individual on her right. As the blue star flag line begins some of their work, you'll see that one of the flags comes up early and goes down early. A very common timing error, and again, 1/10 of a point.
So when you look, can you go back to that previous screen?
See if I can go back without it. Here we go.
There you go. There you go. So when you look at, like, for instance, second place with a 90.25, you look at that and think, God, that's really low. But in the tick system, that was quite high, you know. And the thing is ticks actually started even before you went into the stadium. I don't know how long pre-show inspection happened, but there was a time where there was actually pre-show inspection where ticks would actually start in inspection. So, but the thing is that then you can see where the tick system went away after 1982. And we've gone from second place to, in 80 to 10th place in 83, 11th place in 84, 13th place in 85, 13th place in 86. 27th Lancers, as great of a drum corps as they were, I just don't think that the modern style of drum corps was in their DNA.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, I'm actually going to let me pull up the scores real quick from 80. That's not what I wanted. Let me see if I can go to decades. This is the easiest way to get there. If you guys have never been to the Drum Corps DCX, I highly recommend going here. There's a lot of great info on here. I use this all the time for this show. So look at the score. 90.6 versus a 90.25 for 27th Lancers. And then Bridgman, 90.050, and the Spirit of Atlanta, 89.8. Look how close this is. This is within 8/10 of a point, first through fourth. And once again, that was the tick system.
And that is literally a judge stood in front of the percussion line the entire time, and a tick could have been stick heights. The difference, like the difference between fourth and first would have been so incredibly minute, But again, looking at the scores, 12th place with a 72.9. A 72.9 doesn't even make top 25 these days.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, look at this freelancer, 19th place. Wow.
It was just a completely different time. Hey, you know what though? Now that you're showing that, go back to that real quick. So my first year in freelancers, we were also 19th place.
Yeah, that was 87. Yeah.
With a score of, I think it was 60, or no, we had a 77.9 that year.
Okay. 77.9. Yeah.
Ironically enough, in 1987, our opener was Hall of the Mountain King. Oh wait, no, you're actually looking at 1987. Sorry.
Yep. This is 87,
so Hall of the and the funny little, I'm going to just digress for a little bit. And if Justin wants to put a little video clip here, I wouldn't begrudge him. Funny old core that, because the freelancers folded in 86 and we came back in 87, and we had, I've mentioned this in previous pods, but we had like 5 veterans in the entire core. We started off first tour with like 25 openings in the brass line. We were literally filling our brass line as we went on tour because it was like Blue Devils Bees having their last show go nick their brass players, you know.
Arizona
We
Sun.
had the Arizona Sun, yeah, with the Arizona contingent, because we had Arizona Sun and Sunset Regiment. Don't forget them as well.
Sunset, yes.
The Sunset Regiment. No, the sun never set on their brass players. We just made sure they had a gig after they were done. But it's funny though, because I look at that corps. I wish there was knocking about somewhere a video of our first show in '87, because you wouldn't have noticed, you wouldn't have even recognized it as the same drum corps. So it's funny, in all the years that I marched, I made finals in '89, '91, and '92. I marched, in a, I guess you could say, a very competitive all age corps with Kids Grove Scouts. And without a shadow of a doubt, my favorite year of all the years that I was involved in drum corps was the 19th place '87 Freelancers.
Mine was 91. I really liked 89. I thought, but I was so, I don't know, that was just a bad year for me. I was very immature. So that was not a good year for me. I look back at the show and go, yeah, that was a cool show. But I think 91, we were in our zone, especially the low brass. We were like really in our zone there, man. Like you were talking about under the shade tree while the sops were practicing. We were like sitting, waiting for them to catch up because we were so far ahead.
We were sat under the shade tree writing licks for the end of the show.
Yes, we put it, and what's funny is a lot of those licks we put in like from us. Like we go, hey John, listen to this, and we play it, and he go, okay, and then we put it in. Like the ba-da-da-da part, that's we put that in. Yeah.
It was funny that the lick at the end of the show, I remember playing it for the band director at Sacramento State, and he went, "Oh my God, those French horns!" I'm like, "We don't have any French horns on the field." So that was all. That was all the lead baritones at the end.
That's all the lead baritones.
No, I've always had this theory though. When I look at 91 and 92 Freelancers we're talking about here, I actually think that the music in 92, the book, was probably the best book that John Zimney ever arranged.
Oops, hold on. Sorry, go ahead.
From a pure music perspective, I think that the 92 book was far more mature musically than it was in 91.
Do you have anything else before we move to the next topic?
No, I'm good.
All right. So the next topic we have is we've been having a discussion about the name of this channel. So what really chaps my hide, and that's an old term, by the way, chap my hide. I think we produced some really good videos. I've been doing this quite a while, but my videos have never reached the levels of some other content creators on YouTube. I mean, like somebody will have a video up for 6 months and have 67,000 views. I have a video up for 2 years and have 8,000 views. So there's something amiss somewhere. And Kanan's suggestion is probably the name because we have die in there, which maybe I do kind of agree.
Unfortunately, I mean, look, March or Die, it's kind of a for us, for Justin and I, it goes back to our marching days. That was kind of the motto of
mantra.
The Freelancers, March or Die. That was our mantra. I remember the visual staff had March or Die patches on their jackets, and they had the March or Die rings and all that stuff. And it was, for us, we really hyped on it. But unfortunately, I don't think that the YouTube algorithm bots hype on it as much as we do. So we're thinking that perhaps a change of the channel name might be in order. And that's where we're kind of struggling a little bit, is trying to figure out what to call it. Obviously, the obvious one is March On.
March on TV.
Have you any other March on TV?
Marching Arts TV.
What we want, though, is we don't want to be a DCI Top 12 channel. We want to be a Marching Arts TV. We want to be able to talk about the Top 12, but as much as we can talk about Sound Sport, or as much as we can talk about WGI, or even though they copyright cost us for everything, is BOA.
Yes.
This is a Marching Arts channel, not a DCI Top 12 channel.
Even though we talk about that a lot.
Well, it's the main thing to talk about, let's be honest.
Yeah, that's true. So where we need your help is I'm going to put up a poll of some different names, and you guys can also put in the comments any suggestions you have. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to put up a poll of some different ideas, and then if you have additional ideas, please put it in the comments as well. And then what we're going to do is we're not going to be doing the podcast next week, but the following week we will by then have a name change. What it's going to be, we don't know yet, but we do want to move kind of quickly on this so that we can get more traction.
Do you think so? There are ways that you can help us. Obviously, you can like and subscribe. You can hit the like button and ring the bell and all that stuff. But that hasn't really been working much. So we need to do something.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have a merch store as well. So what I'll say is this: is that if somebody in the comments section down below here, if they give us a name that we absolutely love, I'll buy you a T-shirt.
Ah, look at that! Look at that!
I'll buy you a T-shirt.
All right. So, thank you guys so much for joining us. We're gonna go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You're forgetting the most important part of the show.
What's the most important part of the show?
The British swear word of the day.
Oh my gosh, how could I forget it? Here we go. British swear word of the day.
And now, the British swear word of the day.
And the British swear word of the day, boys and girls, is feck. Now, feck is actually kind of like, it's an alternative for because you can't say a lot because it gets you all, gets you so what you say is feck instead. And the nice thing about feck and today's podcast is that feck is actually kind of an Irish swear word. But they do say it in Northern Ireland, and Northern Ireland is technically part of the UK. So for the purposes of today, we're going to call it the British swear word of the day. But you can kind of guess what it's used, what context it could be used in. If anybody happens to be a fan of British situational comedy television, there is a particular program I highly recommend that utilizes this. I think it's a beautiful word myself. It utilizes it a lot, called Father Ted. I strongly suggest going onto YouTube and just looking up Father Ted, and you'll absolutely enjoy it. But yes, today's British swear word of the day is feck.
And that was the British swear word of the day. Brought to you by the March or Die TV podcast.
All right, so you guys have heard it. You've heard it here. Please cast your votes. I'll be putting up the poll here in conjunction with the release of this video. So thank you guys so much for those that are watching. We do really appreciate it. Please share this video. Sorry, my cat is going crazy over here. What are you doing, man?
Your cats are just completely out of control.
Well, it's because it's lunchtime and they go crazy after if you miss lunchtime.
So before we do the full outro, everybody. What you don't see is all the stuff that ends up on the cutting room floor. The amount of times that Justin here is literally having existential crises with his cats is just crazy.
Because they like want to eat. It's like and trust me, they can eat whenever they want. I have food out all the time.
Is there a cat by your foot right now?
Not right now. They're playing in something over here. I was
going to say, let's see if the cat is there. Let's see a cat.
Come here. Come on.
Cats are good for the YouTube algorithm, by the way.
Come on. There's my cat. There's Jasper.
There you go. It's a cat video now.
It's the oldest cat. He's the oldest one. Say hi to Kanan. My buddy. He just wants food.
He just looks like he wants to murder something, because all cats, I'm convinced, are just stone cold killers.
Oh, they pretty much are. they're just ready to eat. They've been ready to eat for like the last hour. So we do need to wrap this up because they need to eat and I need to eat because it's past lunchtime for me. But thank you guys so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Please subscribe, please like, and please share this video with anybody you think would enjoy it as well. And then we will be posting that poll. And then once again, you can put in the comments any cool names that you think we can turn this channel into, because we are looking at that. We want to make sure we grow the channel, the ecosystem. There's a lot of channels out there, and we want to be one of the top ones. So thank you guys so much.
I mean, find me another drum corps channel that's got over 100 unique videos on it.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, and then more every day. Yeah.
Anyway, so there's only one thing really you can do, and that is, of course, what is it again? You say it every week.
They could march on.
They could march on, yes.
They could march on, or they could march or die.
We can't march or die anymore, so we can march on at least.
We can march on. But thank you guys. We'll see you on the next one. March on.